Welcome back, guys, to the Game Over Guild, the place where we talk about tricks, tips, gameplay, and everything in between. I'm your host, the one and only, and today we're talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales. So let's face it, Spider-Man is probably one of the most popular or well-known Spider-Man Marvel characters that has ever existed, and the reason for that is because he was probably one of the very first to really launch himself into the cinematic universes. You had Spider-Man, the original Spider-Mans, and then you had Amazing Spider-Mans, and now you have the Tom Holland Spider-Man. He is a huge property, and Sony will not let him go, which is kind of thankful because now we get games like this where it's PlayStation exclusives, and I'm a diehard PlayStation fan, so I would hate it if it moved to somewhere else. So Spider-Man Miles Morales, was it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it the same game? Let's talk about it. So, Spider-Man. I obviously love Spider-Man. I'm repping it almost all the time. I have thousands of toys of him and collectibles, and I cannot get enough. I've seen movies. I waited in line for the original Spider-Man, and now I've gotten Spider-Man Miles Morales. I technically got it as a Christmas gift from my wife, and I waited to play it until I had the PS5 because I wanted to experience everything that this game has to have. So let's get into it. Reason that I waited until PS5. This is the number one reason that I got this game and waited for the PS5. The graphics. They're freaking beautiful. I mean, just sitting there watching this game and just like playing in it. When he goes invisible, I almost don't see him. It's really cool. The ray tracing, which I'm still confused on what the hell it is, but you can definitely tell what it is. Like, it is just beautiful graphics, and it's something that you totally expect from a next-gen generation. And it was really awesome to play. Moving on to the story. The story is good. I really loved it. So in this game, in the last game, you were Spider-Man. You were continuing on to that saga, and you were experiencing everything, kind of like fan service to the game, and it was an amazing game. I absolutely loved it. In this one, you're becoming Spider-Man. You are Miles Morales, a new Spider-Man, not a sidekick, a new Spider-Man. And so you're having to learn through it. And in this process, you don't really feel like you're worthy to be Spider-Man. And so that's really where the story goes. You're trying to figure out how you put into it. Everyone refers you as the other Spider-Man, and you're really self-conscious about it. And so that's what the story's about, and you grow as a character in it. I'm not going to give too many spoilers away because I want you guys to play the game. You got to find this stuff out for yourself. But it does go down some stories. You definitely get to see more of Miles Morales' family. You get to see his friends and the conflict that being Spider-Man creates in between them. You get a little bit of family story with his uncle. I'm not going to tell you anything about that because if you're a Spider-Man fan, then you know who his uncle is. If you're not, then I'm going to let you find out in the game. So, as for the story, it's good, but it's really short. It really is. It definitely feels like a DLC, and I definitely understand why everyone thinks it's a DLC. Because this game is like 15, 20 hours long. I don't know, depending on how fast you go. I think I'm at 99. I think I just didn't do like two things. And I'm at 99, and I did that the first run around. Because when I was playing the original Spider-Man, I ran through it way too quick. And like I then had to go back and do all these side missions. And I actually, in the original Spider-Man, I did not want to walk through the door. I did not want to walk through the door to do the final mission because I was having so much fun being Spider-Man. I was like, no, it's almost over. So in this one, I did all the side missions while going through it, and to be honest, I still got. I probably could have done the game itself quicker if I didn't do all the side missions. Like this was a very short story. It was a good story. It definitely had my attention, but very short. But definitely worth it. Definitely emotional. As for gameplay, it's Spider-Man. It's practically the same thing as Spider-Man, except for a couple new abilities like turning invisible, all of his electrical powers, which you kind of build throughout the game. Like, you don't just get them. He's building them. He's finding out that he has them as he's going on, and you get to kind of use them. But to be real, I use them, but at the same time, like a lot of the techniques that I learned in regular Spider-Man, coming to this game, I kind of amplified them. So I just swung around a bunch and like fought. So I found myself using them, but I found myself forgetting to use them because I'm just so used to fighting like that. But overall, like the gameplay was pretty good. It was a decent enough. It flowed perfectly. My only gripe is it was exactly like Spider-Man. There wasn't enough individually to like pull yourself away and be like, this is brand new. Because even the world, which brings me into the world, the world is exactly the same. You're in the same spot, which to me I felt was a loss. It definitely, you definitely, like they say it's in Harlem, but it's in, I'm not a New York map. I don't freaking know, but it definitely felt like it was the exact same map as last time. So everywhere you went in the last game, same thing. If you've never played this game, you're gonna enjoy seeing all these places. But I already did, so I just felt like I was playing a DLC of the last game, and a short DLC at that. So it's hard to tell you whether or not that part's worth it. Because I mean, if you had Spider-Man, if you're just getting it to swing around and do these things, and you're not really interested in the story at all, play the old Spider-Man. Because this one, you get an additional of the new story, and that's pretty much it. I mean, a lot of the gadgets. I think you had more gadgets than Spider-Man, like the original Spider-Man. You definitely had more suits. But I think that's because they're like, if you added so many suits, it was just gonna feel like another, like it was the old Spider-Man, because Miles Morales doesn't have that many suits, or like new suits. But you gotta understand, like Spider-Man in the comics has like years, over 35 years, over 35 of just like suits and adventures and stories. Miles Morales didn't. He came out in 2000s, so like he doesn't have like that many suits and that many stories. I mean, he does have a lot of stories, but he doesn't have that much. So like you have to pull a lot from there, and I think they chose wisely not to, so that way it wouldn't completely feel like the old Spider-Man game. You do get to fight some good villains in it. There are some decent ones. Rhino definitely reappears. I don't know. I think overall it definitely did feel like the old game. I think the story is what got me. I definitely beat this game in like really quick, but overall the story was pretty good. I'm gonna give it a B rating. It would get an A rating if it was taking place in anywhere else but this New York setting. I think this New York setting kind of threw me off. I think if we had went to like Spider-Man in London, cool, that game would have been awesome. But since we got it in New York again, which is always fun, being able to fly around and swing around on these webs and just go wherever I want, do tricks in the air. That's always fun. But I definitely got that in the old game. And a new game is, excuse me, a new game is supposed to bring you into something totally brand new, and I don't feel we got that. I feel like we got two extra powers, and we got a little a DLC story. And although it's a really good DLC story, I wish they had done more with it. So it's definitely going to get a B rating. Um, should you buy it? Yeah, I think you should. I think you should. If you can get it for 40, between $50, definitely buy this game. Is it exactly like the old Spider-Man? No, it's not. It's definitely got a different story. It definitely got a different feel, because you feel more like Spider-Man in this game, because you are becoming Spider-Man. It's as if you put on the suit and you want to learn how to do this, and that's what the game feels like. But is it a lot of similarities to almost exactly like it? Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's getting a B rating, guys. Um, well, that's it for today, guys. I hope this helped you. I hope this either encourages you to buy it, encourages you not to buy it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, like whether or not that you liked the game, what you felt that set it apart from the old Spider-Man. Let's discuss it. The more comments you get, maybe we'll do a video where we just go through and have like these discussion on these video games. Um, so thanks for watching, guys, and always join the guild, like and subscribe.